Okay, we'll start over here. And just get a little light. Okay, there we go. So this is in regards of the Science magazine in regards of when life actually begins. It's from Live Action, and we're going to read that through in regards of this. And actually, I'm going to turn network to 3G, and I'm actually going to turn it off at this moment because I don't want the radiation from the mobile. So anyway, science is clear with each new of course there's radiation everywhere in this world. I'm living in an apartment and getting radiation from everywhere. Anyway, science is clear, each new human life begins at fertilization. And we have a picture of that. It is the central question in the abortion debate. When does life begins? Question mark. Science teaches without reservation that life begins as fertilization, conception. It is a scientific fact that an organism exists after fertilization that did not exist before. This new organism has its own DNA, distinct from the mother and father, meaning that it is a unique person. As the embryo grows, it develops a heartbeat 22 days after fertilization, its own circulatory system, and its own organs. From fertilization, it is a new organism that is alive and will continue to grow and develop as long as nutrition is provided and its life is not hindered through violence or illness. It is indisputable human as it has human DNA. We have an artistic metal representation of DNA double helix structure. It looks pretty complex, doesn't it? Anyway, of course, this is a complex program code with information in it. So all your information is in the code to make you. The offspring of two members of a species is always the same type of creature as the parents. No two dogs will ever conceive and give birth to a cat. No fish egg will ever produce a snake. According to all the laws of nature, the pre-born baby is human. Scientific textbooks proclaim this fact. Keith L. Morse, the developing human, clinically originated embryologic 7th edition, Philadelphia, PA, Saunders, 2003, states the following. And by the way, in regards of, as I understand it, when life begins, as I understand it, science has actually found out there's like a glimmer of light when you have in regards to the conception. What was it called? Conception, when it's fertilization, conception. At that point, there's apparently a light, from it. But anyway. As far as I remember, there were some articles about that. Zygote, which is a fertilized egg, I wonder, it's probably Latin again or something like that, is the beginning of a new human being. Human development begins at fertilization, the process during which a male gamete or something like that, or gamete, unites with a female gamete or oocyte. I have no idea what these Latin words. Well, I would think they were Latin words anyway. It's usually Latin, right? Anyway, to form a single cell called a zygote, this highly specialized totipotent cell marks the beginning of each of us as a unique individual. I don't know if the egg divides and all that. In regards of twins and all that, they might have the same code, But anyway, besides that, unique, like unique, right? Anyway, zygote is a scientific term For the new life that is created when the sperm and the egg combine. Oocyte is another term for the egg cell. The cell releases by human ovary, which travels down the fallopian tube and is fertilized by the male sperm. By the way, I got the where are those? Let's see, download. I have the results from in regards of Dane. Where's my download page? Oh, it probably is. Oh, let's see if we can find it. Download. Probably put it over here somewhere. There we go. Our question is, of course, where it is. Can we actually make like older or something like that? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Statistic on. That's from a Danish source, of course, but you can still see the numbers. This is from Denmark before 1943. Let's see here. Maybe we should take this one. I don't know. It's one of them. Here we go. Here are the numbers, and this is before. This is before it was legalized. Where women could just kill or murder their child with cold-blooded murder. You can see in 1973, it's really curious that we already have so many. I guess the times of the satanic rebellion feminist was on the rise in the 70s. But, you really see a big, from 1973 to 1974, you really see, it rising. And in the 1940s, it's only 0.5 of every 1,000 women that have, it's still too many. But, as I understand it, there had to be a reason for it, a really, really good reason. Apparently it seems like the satanic feminists had this, if you get this sickness, you can get a free abortion. So the women might actually have used that to murder their children. So again, that would still have been, murder because they did it on purpose. If they go out and get sick on purpose to kill the child, that's still murder, So anyway. But I'm still trying to figure out. But I have the numbers from 1973 to 2018, and in Denmark we have murdered 860,000 children. That's a huge amount, and then people will say, "Oh, we don't have the workforce and all that." Well, maybe if we stopped killing our children, the weakest in society, well, maybe we would actually, it's again satanic deception, and it's very sad. This world is so wicked. It's so wicked. It's so sad to see. It's horrible to think about how wicked we are as a people. Thinking we are good human people and blah, 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 when we're actually disgusting, murderers. Murdering the weakest of our society that don't have a voice for themselves. Anyway, and that's the rebellion, satanic feminists that wanted to have free sex. They wanted to be whores. They wanted to have sex outside marriage, and they wanted to murder their children when they became pregnant. And of course they hated men. They wanted the patriarchal system gone, which of course make totally it's totally nonsense, because who wants a hormonal disturbed woman to lead the family or society as a whole? Instead of just having a man that is less hormonal, crazy. Anyway, so these, it's the ideas of the feminist movement is totally unlogical. And of course, as we know from the Bible, men should not always listen to the women, because that's one of the ways that Satan gets to us and destroys us. So why did men listen to these rebellious satanic feminists, that had murder in their hearts, cold-blooded murder in their heart? No idea why this was ever put forward, but I guess there's a satanic agenda behind it as always. Anyway, let's see here. Where did we get to? So fertilized by the male sperm. The author of this scientific textbook, Keith L. Moore, is a world-renowned embryologist. He has written a number of definitive books on embryology, and his scientific knowledge and experience are vast and beyond reproach. Few medical students can complete their careers without studying from his textbooks. Moore puts it even more plainly in Before We Are Born, Essential of Embryology, 7th edition, Philadelphia, P.A. Saunders, 2008, page 2. The zygote, I think it's the way you say it, but anyway, I could be wrong, formed by the union of an oocyte, or oocyte, or something like that, oocyte, I don't know, and the sperm is the beginning of a new human being. Okay, pretty clear, isn't it? Here's an example from another scientific work, From Human Embryology and Teratology, Ronan R. O'Rahilly, Fabiola Muller, New York, Willie Lees, 1996, 5-55. Fertilization is an important landmark because under ordinary circumstances, a new genetically distinct human organism is thereby formed. The third embryology textbook is as clear as the first two. Fertilization is the beginning of new life and the start of a new distinct human organism. From T.W. Sadler Langman's Medical Embryology, 10th edition, Philadelphia, PA, Lippincott, Williams and Wilkins, 2006, page 11. Development begins with fertilization, the process by which the male gamete, the sperm, and the female gamete, the oocyte, unite to give rise to a zygote. And in another source, Ronan O'Rahilly and Fabiola Miller, Human Embryology and Teratology, 3rd edition, New York, Willie Lees, 2009, page 8. Although life is a continuous process, fertilization is a critical landmark because under ordinary circumstances, a new genetically distinct human organism is formed when the chromosomes of the male and female pronuclea blend in the oocyte. And as I understand in regards to the, you have the two from the male and the woman, and as I understand, the DNA fixes up, unwinds, and then it winds again. I'm sure you can find some scientific videos on that and all that on YouTube probably. In another textbook, William J. Larson, Essential of Human Embryology, New York, Churchill, Livingstone, 1998, page 114, we read the following. Human embryos begins development following the fusion of definitive male and female gametes during fertilization. This moment of zygote formation may be taken as the beginning or zero time point of embryonic development. As we can see, the embryology textbooks are clear. Life begins at fertilization, and the life that begins is not simply a continuation of the life of the sperm or egg cell. Rather, it is the life of a distinct, unique new individual who has never existed before in history and will never exist again. Nothing will be added to the new organism except nutrition, and it will continue to grow and develop until death occurs due to injury or illness. And that was in regards, probably the other video in regards to nutrition. The reason why women were the ones focusing on nutrition was that they were having the babies and they needed to be healthy so the children could be healthy. And in our days, the women don't want to know about these things, so they become sick, and the children are sick, and the men are sick. And thereby he has to be the strong, the strong leader of the family. And when he becomes strong, when he becomes weak, and the woman is not supporting the family, the whole thing breaks down in sickness, and we're all sick, and life is terrible, and so forward. Because the women bought the lie of Satan that they, get out and get an education and get a career. The problem with that is women is topping around 20, I think it was 21. So you have your youth as a value, and from 21 and forward, your value just goes down. And it even goes more down if you actually have sex outside marriage. And besides that, of course, when you get an education, you as a woman begins to look upward, because you're always looking upward for a man that is, more valued than yourself in regards of work and money and so forward. The problem is you now have a university education, and you're also gone for a career, and your age is only, rolling upward, and, men are less interested in you, and you are less interested in men. So you see, it's just, because you want to look, you're already confining your own group of what you see as possible, a possible man. And the man looks at you, and, getting older and older and older again, dwindling the. So that's, sorry to say that, but that's just, Satan has a very clever one, and he pretty much have done us in. If you're a woman, I would advise you to just find a good man and support him, You have your youth, and that's what you have. And if you take a long education and a career, how much time, you don't learn how to actually be a family wife. You don't really learn anything of those kinds. You just learn to go out in regards of a career. And what do you have when you're 40, fat, and finish? You don't have anything. If you are, going for 40 and all that, what, your chances of finding a good husband and, having children and a family and all that it's not that big anymore. Anyway, Leonard Nilsson was a photographer who took the first pictures of preborn embryos and fetuses and made them available. And by the way, when you are actually 40, your chance of getting healthy children is also down the drain. It's going downward, And the thing is, if you haven't actually supported your own body with good nutrition and all that, because you don't know anything about it, because you needed to study, you needed to work, and you didn't really get into in regards of good food and nutrition and all that, well, it's not really looking good. So, anyway, but of course, no one dares to tell you women, because then they are called man chauvinist or dictator or whatever, and who cares? I don't really care. Who cares? The truth is the truth, and that's the truth. Anyway, you just see women, for example, these days that don't know, how to cook, or get some good nutrition in their bodies. And they have problems getting pregnant, and if they have, they are getting more children and this and that. It seems to be in regards of sickness and tooth decay seems to also be an issue. And so forward, because they are missing the nutrients in the body. It's just, goes hand in hand. There's a way that is right, and there's a way that is wrong. And if we're not going to turn around, it's only going to become worse. And you people out there, stop drinking it's a really, people are like, oh, it's Danish culture to drink and all that. Listen up, people. If you drink a lot of alcohol, you end up getting sick with a lot of issues. it's not a smart thing. You know, I can just look at myself. I have some experience on that. It's stupid. You know, and you just do it when you're young and no one actually telling you. It's stupid, you know. And you have a whole life you need to live, you know, and just... Anyway, let's get back to the thing here. Leonard Nilsson was a photographer who took the first... And, you know, that's the thing is, the women are doing what the men are doing as well. And the women should be much more careful than the men. Because they are the ones carrying the children for 9 months, you know. And they need to have the nutrition. And if they're drinking and smoking and all that... It's, yeah. It's not like it's a, you know, it's not a good thing. Leonard Nilsson was a photographer who took the first picture of preborn embryos and fetuses and made them available in his famous book, A Child is Born. In the introduction to his book, which contains beautiful color pictures of preborn babies in different stages of development, he says, "But the whole story does not begin with delivery. The baby has existed for months before, at first signaling its presence only with small outer signs, later on as a somewhat foreign little being which has been growing and gradually affecting by the lives of those close by." This incredible book shows gorgeous photographs of the preborn baby from conception, fertilization to birth. We see the shape of the 6-year-old embryo begin to resemble the profile of the baby who will be born. We see the tiny fully formed fingers of an 8-week-old preborn baby. It is remarkable. It is a remarkable book that many expectant mothers have seen, and its photographs have been reproduced many times. It's also a funny thing in regards of women and all that. When they want the child, it's a child. But if they don't want the child, it's just, you know, an embryo or whatever, you know, just a clump of cells and blah, 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 you know. It's disgusting, you know. We can, what shall we say, turn words upside down and use words like abortion instead of murder. We can flatten the words up and stop using the real words, what it actually is. But it doesn't change the fact. You know, the same thing with sex, you know. Sex outside marriage is whoring. But of course we don't, well, not of course, but we don't call it that today. We just call it, we see it as a natural thing because we think ourselves to just be animals, because most people in Denmark believe in evolution. It's like 82% of the Danish people believe in evolution, which is a satanic pagan lie, and have no idea why anyone would believe in that crap, you know. The word embryo is defined as such Considine Douglas Van Nostrand Scientific Encyclopedia, 5th edition, New York, Van Nostrand Reinhold Company, 1976, page 943. Anyway, is this the... Okay, I think this is the... Or maybe it's... Actually, I'm not sure which one is actually... let's see how they actually start out in regards to these quotations. Okay, it seems like first they, presented, so it should be, what we are reading here. So this top thing should actually be, we also have the, So the embryo, the developing individual between the union of the germ cells and the completion of the organs which characterize its body when it becomes a separate organism. At the moment of the sperm cell of the human male meets the ovum of the female and the union results in a fertilized ovum or zygote, a new life has begun. Oh, a new life has begun. Yeah, a new life has begun. And again, I think in regards to the new life, I think that was something that science found out that's like a glimmer of light when it happens. So I don't know if they have found out what it is in regards of, but anyway. And yet another textbook, Carlson, Bruce, M. Patton, Foundations of Embryology, 6th edition, New York, McGrath Hill, 1996, page 3 states, Almost all higher animals start their life from a single cell. The fertilized ovum or zygote, the time of fertilization, represents the starting point in the life, history or ontogeny of the individual. And again, there's probably a lot of Latin words and all that. But anyway, the starting point in the life history, in regards of the fertilization. It's not a big surprise, but of course people that are for abortion don't like that. When you do something, to kill off an organism, a child, well, it's murder. There's nothing, there's not any, you can't go around it. It's murder. If you kill something that is growing in your body, which actually should be very safe at that place, but apparently it has become a murder place of women that have lost their sanity. The women has pretty much lost their, maybe they, of course, women might actually never have been sane, but but the men have allowed this insanity of women to just, go out there and murder our children, If they don't want sex, don't have sex, If you don't want children, don't have sex. You have the choice before going into bed with another man. So, anyway. This is a mere handful of excerpts from medical textbooks. So, here we go. National Geographic put together a television program in the womb 2005, documenting the development of the baby throughout pregnancy. In the introduction of their program, they sum up their scientific knowledge of the beginning of life in the following way. The two cells gradually and gracefully become one. This is the moment of conception, fertilization, when an individual unique set of DNA is created, a human signature that never existed before and will never be repeated. Yeah, well, I'm not really into the images, I don't really, I'm not that, I have issues with, I can really get bad if in regards of talking about some of the things, not in regards of this, but in regards of that's one subject that always makes me feel like I'm getting really bad just listening to it. I don't know why, but it's just anyway, I shouldn't probably tell anyone. But anyway, and women just seems to love talking about these subjects. It just makes me feel really really bad, it's really, anyway. In 1981, April 23 to 24, a Senate Judiciary Committee held hearings on the question of when human life begins. Appearing to speak on behalf of the scientific community was a group of international known geneticists and biologists who had the same story to tell. Actually, it's very fun because, not fun. I actually talked with a biology guy, taking a high education and all that. And he was trying to use that as saying in regards of creation and evolution and blah, 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 and so forward. And I'm like, and in regards of, trying to discount things. And I'm just saying, well, if you are into biology, biology, you will see, you will get, in some sense, smacked in, I didn't say that, but you will get smacked in the face by intelligent design everywhere you look. So I don't think he actually have replied to that, but he will have to fight it. I can just tell him the truth and say, yeah, well, that's what it. We have these quotations where it's like well, the biology looking into these things will have this mantra of saying having to apparently say to himself, this is not the sign, this is not the sign, this is not the sign, this is not. It's a wonderful quotation I read about that, that, where they say, the biology guy needs, to remind himself about that this is not designed. And why would he need to remind himself about that this is not designed? Well, maybe because it looks very, very designed. So anyway, I hope that, again, just go out and make some problems, for Satan. That's the thing, just tell the truth and, So, and use some arguments, and he will see it everywhere, the DNA code, in what is inside a cell in regards of the organs, how the body works and all that, animals, plants, and all, he will see it everywhere. Anyway, so he will be the one having to fight this if he doesn't, if he wants to reject it. That's, anyway. So let's see here. Okay, so appearing to speak on behalf of the science, let's see, maybe we should try again. In 1981, April 23 to 24, a Senate Judiciary Committee held hearings on the questions of when human life begins. Appearing to speak on behalf of the scientific community was a group of international known geneticists and biologists who had the same story to tell, namely that human life begins at conception, fertilization. And they told their story with a complete absence of opposing testimony. Subcommittee on Separation of Powers to Senate Judiciary Community S-158, Report 97th Congress, First Session 1981. Dr. Machiline M. Matthews Roth, Harvard Medical School, gave confirming testimony supporting by reference from over 20 embryology and other medical textbooks that human life began at fertilization. It is incorrect to say that biological data cannot be decisive. It is scientifically correct to say that an individual human life begins at conception. And these people out there will use these bad arguments, and it's just not based on truth. The only reason why they use these bad arguments is because they think it's okay to murder, They are following, their father the devil, pretty much. So we have another father of modern genetics, Dr. Jerome Lejeune or something like that, told the lawmakers to accept the fact that after fertilization has taken place, a new human has come into being is no longer a matter of taste or opinion. It is plain experimental evidence. Each individual has a very neat beginning at conception. And we have another Dr. Marquetha de Marais, sounds French or something like that, medical doctor and law professor, University of Tennessee, testified, the exact moment of the beginning of personhood and of the human body is at the moment of conception. What a surprise, huh? What a surprise. Next one. Dr. Alfred Bongiovanni, professor at Pediatrics and Obstetrics, University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, concluded, I am no more prepared to say that these early stages represents an incomplete human being than I would be to say that a child prior to this dramatic effect of puberty is not a human being. I have learned from my earliest medical education that human life begins at the time of conception. And then we have these people in Denmark, and they can't even stand for the truth. I saw one politician that apparently had the possibility of telling the whole Danish people that this is murder. And what did she do? That was the total disgrace, She didn't want to say the murder word because she didn't want to, I'm not sure what the English word is, but she didn't want to, what shall we say, disgrace the women or something like that. And why can't anyone stand for the truth? We have this political thing going on at the moment, and as far as I know, there's only one group, which, as I understand it, really haven't really been, I would have liked to have some more official things told about it. But anyway, as far as I understand, they actually stand against abortion, but it's not a popular thing, so I guess they might be a little afraid of actually saying what they stand for on that ground. I'm not sure, which is terrible, I think, Murder is murder, and it does not make it right. Just to, and we cannot be silent about it. I guess, last year there was this, where people were walking but with balloons for life and all that, for the children and all that. And, it seemed to me that people were somewhat ashamed of these things, after we had walked it. People were blowing up their balloons. And I'm like, why are you blowing up your balloons, Apparently people seem to have an issue actually going with, the balloons, in the public, Of course, I didn't need to blow up my balloons, which I didn't want to either, because the feminists came and blew them up for me, Those, murderers. I was talking to a feminist, trying to, get some sense into her. And then, the thing is, the feminists pretty much began to round us up, and they began to come closer and closer and closer. And I'm standing there. I'm just standing my ground, pretty much. So I'm pretty much, I'm standing in the middle of the group of the feminists at that point. And when the feminists go by me, they blow, they blow my balloons, when I'm talking to this other, woman, and it's just, of course, it's only balloons, but, it just shows, The problem is, the balloons represented life, and they just killing them off. And there's like, I have a video of it, and these women are just screaming, there's, hormonal disturbed women that have, lost sensibility. Of course, I'm not sure if women actually have any sensibility at all, but, but the hormones are really, and when they are led in the wrong direction, it's just terrible. Oh, actually, that's not true. I've seen some women that actually seems to have some sensibility. So, yeah. Anyway, in these days, it's very few. But I have seen some Amish women that actually was pretty... I've probably seen some others. But, again, it's one of the ways that Satan gets us, going through the woman, and then the man just, instead of standing for the truth and all that, we just fall over, apparently. So, anyway. Dr. Richard V. J. Janus, to say that the beginning of human life cannot be determined scientifically is utterly ridiculous. Dr. Landrum settles. Actually, I think I have a guy that I debated a lot about in regards, again, this... I could just send one quote after another to him in regards of this. Dr. Landrum Settles, sometimes called the father of in vitro fertilization, notes, conception confers life and makes that life one of a kind. And on Supreme Court ruling Roe v. Wade, to deny a truth about when life begins should not be made a basis for legalizing abortion. So again, to deny a truth about when life begins should not be made a basis for legalizing abortion. And people jumping all over, seeing these rebellious feminists enjoying themselves in regards of legalizing murder, that they're not ashamed of actually standing for cold-blooded murder is just utterly disgusting. And just because, let's say that 90%, and that's not even the case, I think, but let's say 90% of the people in Denmark thought it was okay, it does not make it right. This is not a democracy in regards of right and wrong. Just because 82% of the people in Denmark believe in satanic pagan evolution does not make it correct. It's still false. It's not a democracy in regards to truth and lies. Anyway, we have another one. Professor E. June Diamond stated, either the justices were fed a backwoods biology or they were pretending ignorance about scientific certainty. That's probably in regards of, it probably has been legalized at that point, and he's just telling, that either the justices were fed a backwoods biology or they were pretending ignorance about scientific certainty, Or maybe they had a satanic agenda behind them. Let's see, Gordon Jaime, MD, FRCP, Chairman of Medical Genetics, Mayo Clinic, Rochester. All criteria of modern molecular biology, life is present from the moment of conception. Science has a very simple conception of man. As soon as he has been conceived, a man is a man. Oh, and actually he's using pretty good words here, man, in regards of, an earthling. An earthling, I would, Adam was created from the earth, right? So, earthling, I think, would be a good word for that in regards to translation. But anyway, I do wonder how you would actually, because Adam, how you would actually say that in regards to the translation, because you would probably use Adam as the Hebrew name, but, it has a meaning in itself, so... maybe you could put that in a what is it called? Some as an information thing. I don't know. Anyway, C. Christopher Hook, MD, oncologist, Major Clinic Director of Ethics, Education, Mayo Graduate School of Medicine. When fertilization is complete, a unique genetic human entity exists. The official Senate report reached this conclusion. Physicians, biologists, and other scientists agree that conception marks the beginning of life of a human being, a being that is alive and is a member of the human species. There is overwhelming agreement on this point in countless medical, biological, and scientific writings, and I should pretty much throw that stupid thing out. The thing is, it's broken, and it keeps saying on this, Chinese or whatever language, and some and English as well, that it's really annoying, and I can't turn it off, and I just get, I should probably just throw it out. It's getting really, really tired of it. Physicians, let's try that again. Physicians, biologists, and other scientists agree that conception marks the beginning of life of a human being, a being that is alive and is a member of the human species. There is overwhelming agreement on this point in countless medical, biological, and scientific writings. Human baby at 7 to 8 weeks old. Yep. Preborn babies are among the most vulnerable and helpless members of our society. The value of, it's getting annoying in regards to this. What is it called? Why is it coming up with this issue of okay, clear it all. I have some problem with that mail, but it's just give me a break. Anyway, Each person has inherent worth because of who and what he or she is. Let's see. Let's try to say that again. Sorry. Pre-born babies are among the most vulnerable and helpless members of our society. The value of human beings is not dependent on where they are, how tall they are, what race they are, what they look like. In regards to race, I was guessing in regards to variation, what they look like or how old they are. Each person has inherent worth because of who and what he or she is, a member of the human species. Here we have heartbreaking infant who survived. Abortion cried while he was left to die. It is incredible demonic these things, All the stories that are out there, exposing this demonic, filthy thing should be stopped at, should have been stopped yesterday. And I have no idea why no one seems to want to talk about these things, here in this country. It is disgusting to see the Danish people standing for death and destruction of the weakest in society, and have been doing that for a huge amount of time. And, if anyone, should be killed, it might be the ones that wants to kill them, that wants to murder the children, At least, it just seems so wrong that people that has been born actually are the ones ruling in regards of what we are going to do with people that haven't been born, unborn people that cannot speak for themselves, that are the weakest in society. And it's incredible. The Bible talks about, an eye for an eye and a hand for a hand and all that. And of course we have Yeshua and all that. But still, a murder is murder. Murder is murder. We should not accept murder. We're insane to accept murder, something like murder. It's just insane. Anyway, that's one of the articles. There's, a lot of things in regards to this. I guess it in regards to me, reading it again, it doesn't really, it's not a bad thing, to get this, because when talking to people and all that, just stand for the truth. But, I've read a huge, I read in regards to these horrifying things that happens, and in regards of a woman finding out that there is a child that is, it's terrible. It's terrible. And apparently it seems like some are lying to the women that it's not really it doesn't really look like a baby, or it's just a clump of cells and all that. This is a most demonic thing, and we cannot accept it as a society to murder the weakest in our society. We are to stand for the weakest in society, not to destroy them and murder them and all that. You have to be kidding me, people. How can you even defend this position? You have to be outrageous, sick in your heart. You have to, it's outrageous. Anyway, I hope there will come another thing in regards against abortion. It's nearly a year since the last one was there, and hopefully I'm thinking of if I could just get started. I was actually getting started talking to these feminists, but then I was closed down by one of these guys standing at me, because apparently he didn't like how I was doing the things, saying that I told them they could stop, they could stop whoring, if they didn't want children, they could stop whoring, and something like that. But I was in some sense closed. I should just have spoken forward. But anyway, maybe next time, I could get out there and speak to these murderous feminists and get some of them to repent, hopefully, that would be nice. But it's very sad to see how they scream. Actually, they kept pretty quiet when I actually spoke, So I had this thing with me, so it was pretty loud as well. I still have that. It's not actually, it's still not really working as it should. You know, you need to have the microphone in your mouth for actually. But anyway, I'll have to see if I can. It could be interesting. You know, if you can save just one life, wouldn't it be worth it? Yeah, absolutely. You know. And who cares what the feminist is going to do with you? But of course they won't probably, I don't know. It could be interesting. But someone has to, you know, we have to speak up against this. You know, we can't just be like, feel like we, you know, ashamed about it and all that, you know. Why should we be ashamed for standing for life? That's just, you know, it's turning things upside down, you know. It's incredible stupid, you know. It's the feminists that should be ashamed. You know, those cold-blooded murderers, you know, these rebellious women, these, you know, because it usually is women, you know, because they think it's their own body. Well, it's not their body. The organism of the child growing in them is not their DNA. It has its own code. It is another life. It is not their body. If they don't want another human growing in them, well, don't have sex, you know. That's not that. And of course, they will come with this bad excuse, you know, oh, if they are raped and all that. Well, that was not the point of the feminist movement. It was never in regards of what if they got raped. If you go into the side, and I've been on the side of these rebellious feminists, there are three pillars of feminism. It is in regards of free sex, in regards of whoring to the left and the right. They wanted the right to become whores, pretty much. And then they wanted, to be able to murder if they became pregnant, even if they were the ones that actually were out whoring to the left and the right. And then, of course, they didn't want men to tell them what to do and all that in regards to the patriarchal system. So it's in regards of hatred of men as well. So that's three pillars of feminism. And I have no idea why any man would ever want to marry a woman that is a feminist, you know? Yeah, you pretty much, but the, what should we say, you know, when the word comes out, when you ask a woman, are you a feminist? And she says yes. It's like, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Find someone else. Because feminism have these three pillars, you know. If the woman wants to be independent woman and all that, and, we don't need men and all that, well, okay. Yeah, you don't need men. Apparently, it seems you actually do need men. But anyway, but it's just tiring to hear about, oh, men are just the worst of the worst and this and that and all that. And you women should actually be supporters of men. And then you will say, oh, there's no good men left in the world and all that. Well, what do you expect? There's no good women in the kitchen anymore, is there? So what happens to the men when they don't get the support they need and the backing they need to stand for, what is good in this world and all that? Do you think that will go better for them? Actually, when you listen to these Amish women, you're thinking, wow, you want to become the best of the best that you can as a man. Just listening to her, to what is coming out of the mouth. When you listen to these feminists, you don't really, feminists and these rebellious women these days, there's nothing for the man to become a better man. What is the reason for the man to become a better man when what he does, what he's getting from the woman is just trash and more trash? There's nothing to make him feel like he wants to be a better man for his wife because she deserves the best of the best. But, listening to some of these Amish women, that's the thing, that's the wow, you never heard of, and you're thinking, wow, that woman just deserves the best of a man. You want to become better. You want to become, a better man to her, because if it's she deserves it. She's like you're getting some inputs that like you want to become a better man. But this feminism thing and all that, just trash for the men, and screaming at the men, and it's always the men's fault and all that. What is the incentive for the man wanting to become better if what he gets from the woman is just, trash and more trash and more trash, Is there any incentive for the man to actually want to, does he look on the woman and say, oh, she deserves the best of the best that I can give her? When she doesn't even want to cook, when she doesn't want his children, when she doesn't want to support him in any way, that she, pretty much just a rebellion woman, that just nags him day out and day in and 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 day out, and just drives him utterly nuts, yeah. Anyway, it would be nice with a woman, absolutely, a good woman. A good, caring woman. That I think any man would appreciate, a good, caring woman, that could cook and want his 15 children and take care of him and his children. And yeah. Anyway. And of course, I'm a man chauvinist pig and a dictator and blah, 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 whatever, words they, Oh, by the way, it's a woman that actually seems to actually have written this article, but of course there's women that actually also is standing against, but you can't even say that this author is a male pig or whatever, And these feminists, when they were yelling a lot of things that I had no idea what was, so they're just screaming, these feminists, rebellious feminists are screaming, women scream, on top of their lungs. I have no idea what they mean, and I'm asking them what the words mean, and they didn't want to talk to you or anything like that. So again, it's very hard to actually get through to these. And I guess in regards of red, the color red seems to really fit them because it's a river of blood that has been floating. And So in regards to the Bible, if you murdered someone, murdered someone on, in regards of, what is it called? If you did directly murdered someone, you are actually, if you did it on purpose and just murdered someone, your blood was actually upon your own head. Another person could actually murder you, kill you, because then it wouldn't actually be murder because he was killing the murderer that actually did it. But of course, if you actually killed someone by mistake, according to the Torah, you could flee to one of these cities. If you, sometimes things happen and you didn't do it on accident and all that. But if you did it on accident, then, if you did it on purpose, then it's murder. If you kill someone, without any reason, then it's murder. But again, if someone, let's say someone murdered your brother, right? If someone murdered your brother according to the Torah, another person, would be allowed to actually kill you. Now, of course, Jesus, put the stake up in regards of mercy and all that. But that was the general foundation of it, that you are actually, guilty, that you could actually be murdered or killed yourself. That's the problem. Murder is one thing and killing is another thing. There's a lot of people being killed in the Bible, but in regards of killing them for things they have done, which is wrong. And then there's murder. So you have to differentiate murder by killing, So yeah, I guess you could maybe say if if someone is out to murder you and you defend yourself. Now, of course, again, as a Christian, we have a higher stake, I guess. But in regards, if you killed the one that wanted to murder you, would that then be murder, or would that just be in regards of defending yourself? So you killed the one that wanted to murder you. Would that then would that be murder, or would that be self-defense? I think that would be probably self-defense. Yeah, I guess it's a little I should be careful of, but anyway. So if you go out and murder someone, you are actually, yeah. So the thing is, when we kill off the weakest or murder the weakest of our society, well, the question is, are these people that murder the innocent actually guilty themselves in regards of being killed? Would that be any case? Because if we're not going to do anything about this will continue. And we have already murdered a huge amount of people. And again, it started apparently before 1973, even when it was not legal. But we can see how it goes worse and worse and worse and worse and worse in regards of how many women, in regards of, it just takes off when it becomes, when the feminist comes around. It just takes off, 21.2 per 1,000 women, murders a child. And then people will say, oh, you shouldn't speak about it and this and that. Oh, really? I shouldn't speak about a Holocaust in Denmark where we have, huge amount of children getting killed. Now, of course, I could actually take these numbers and put them in the numbers that I already have calculated. And that would be from 1972 to 1940. I'm not sure how many there are, but let's say that's a huge amount. But that would, yeah. And this is in regards to it says fertile age is from 15 to 49 years. So again, it seems to be that 15 to 49 years seems to be where they put in regards of women's fertility, and then they hit the wall, of course, and so I think it's okay to I think we have like 16 years old in Denmark, so I could actually find a woman that actually 16 years old and actually marry her, as far as I understand it, without any issue. And then she has some, a lot of years that she actually could have, give me children, So that might actually not be that bad of a thing, And you heard about men that don't really wear with the woman, when she stops, when she hits the wall and she doesn't want to, have anything at that point. It might actually be a good thing for an older man to actually have a younger woman. That might actually fit pretty good, So anyways, let's see. I think it's 16 years in Denmark that is the legal limit for finding a good woman. So, yeah. But again, then, if you find a woman that is in regards of 16 years, then you have, you have 5 years, and then she tops, and pretty much, and then it goes downhill from there. But you still have some good years, so you still have a good space of time where you can actually get a lot of children, and hopefully a lot of healthy children. And also, when women are not that old, it seems like they're more, they're more reasonable. They haven't had too much, things put in their mind, and yeah, so, yips, anyway, yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Now I have my, what shall we say, views that are not that popular in our days, but who cares, you know. What do we have here? As regards of, okay, Sabbath Covenant, Pontifex Maximus. Oh, it's locked down at the moment because of, okay. So anyway, have a continual Sabbath, a good Sabbath, you know, day of rest. And I'll put this up. I probably should actually, let's see if we can get back to... Did I just... Oh, I closed it down. I should not have closed it down. Oh well, I'll open it and find the thing again. Anyway, may Jehovah bless you, and may Yeshua be that most precious pearl, and may the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Actually, by the way, I just saw a video in regards to where they're bashing the Hebrew people. And of course, they're using the letters of Paul in regards of lawlessness. Again, every time you see Christians, or Pauline Christians, whatever you want to call them, every time you see lawlessness and defending lawlessness, people are not running to Jesus Christ. People are running to Paul. And yeah, so... You know, in regards of keeping the Sabbath, and in regards to keeping the festivals of Jesus Christ, and all that, you know, they always run to Paul to defend lawlessness, and it's just stupid, you know. It's just, you know, just look at it. You know, when you see something talking against the law and all that, and people keeping the law and trying to keep the law like their master did and all that, you know, look who they are running to. They will always run to Paul, or at least like 99.9% of the times, they always run to Paul to defend lawlessness. That's very sad. Anyway, remember that Yeshua warned us about an enemy that would come. Actually, it's very interesting because a lot of people actually believe that the book of Matthew was written after the letters of Paul was written. And I can't confirm that or anything like that. I do know that the book of Matthew was written in the 1st century because we have a parody made on the book of Matthew from Jewish sources. But we don't have the parody anymore. But we do have the information that there existed a parody. I can't remember you know, it's a long time I was like, I can't remember when it was, but. You know, if you make a parody on the book of Matthew, the book of Matthew must be around, right? But again, it's interesting. If the book of Matthew was the Nazarenes, we know the Nazarenes used the book of Matthew primarily. If that actually goes against Paulus, and then we have the Ebonite sources as well, whatever we have left of that, actually also goes against Paulus, and we have other sources saying that the Ebonites did not like Paul and all that. It's just, I guess, very interesting to see. Anyway, have a good one, all of you. Take care. Bye-bye.